So, Tom, good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
So this is exciting. This feels like I feel like I'm walking into history here.
Yeah.
So, beautiful office. So you get to work here every day.
I do. We're sitting in my grandfather's office, Tom III, him and his brother founded this company in 1976.
So how does, this is really interesting to me when you think, I walk in and everything you said here has been here for all these years, right? And you're the new generation, but you seem to have a sense of pride and you seem to have, like, you live this. And I don't sometimes see that with next generation. So why is that?
Well, my grandfather and great uncle, they're son of an immigrant, right?
Mm-hmm. Portugal, right?
Portugal, the island of Pico in the Azore Islands. And my great-grandmother was a laborer. She worked at Spreckles Sugar. And my great-grandfather, Tom II, was just a dirt farmer. So they really came from nothing. My great-grandfather had a third-grade education. Oh. Education was really, really important because he didn't have one. Yeah. And he was blessed to be able to send both his boys, Bob and Tom the third, to Stanford University. And when they graduated from Stanford, my grandfather in particular couldn't find a job, wanted to be an architect.
After Stanford,
couldn't find a job, wanted to be an architect, but understood the farming side, had a business mind by graduating from an institution like Stanford, borrowed money, and slowly and steadily started farming, not just here in the Salinas Valley, but down in the desert as well, trying to stretch those dollars on a year-round basis so they can survive another season. And so it was a really, really slow process. They sold the company they originally had and then founded this one, in particular, the Nunes Company, Foxy Fresh Vegetables in 1976. Yeah. And I was born in 77. Yeah. So a lot of the people that are even here today, they helped raise me. Yeah. Wow. So I'm really proud of
So you've grown up here, basically.
Yeah, because there's a lot of mentors that I have here. Yeah. There's a lot of people that help develop my life. Yeah. A lot of great people, not just family, but what I like to consider extended family. Mm-hmm. We got 2 people currently in this company that are still in their 90s. Wow. Been with my grandfather and great uncle since the beginning. And they're still really, really important part of our family and our company.
That is such a... I'm sure you're grateful for that, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
It's like how many people get to tell that story?
Yeah.
It's like recently we came back from the conference. So we had a conference in March, and this is my 10th year as a CEO. And it was really interesting. We had a couple of our board members get on stage. We had some of our staff talk about United Ag and me and stuff. And our chair at that time actually got emotional on stage. And it just felt like we were at a family gathering rather than a work gathering. And I go back to my friends and I'm explaining this and what it meant. And they were like, this doesn't happen. Like, What are you talking about? Like, why would your chair cry? So people don't even understand that. So do you think it's like anything, like, do you think this is more an agricultural company thing? Or do you think it's a...
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Well, I think, every industry is different, right? And it's hard for me to speak about other industries, but, the agricultural industry, it doesn't understand birthdays and holidays and anniversaries. Yep. Mother Nature's got her own course. And so in a lot of ways, it's a lifestyle. Right. And the people that love it and are engaged in it become a big part of your life because you work with them so often, so many days, so many hours. Right. So they become really a part of your extended family. So there's a real emotional attachment, not just to the people, but to the land. Mm-hmm. That's true. To the environment and the stewardship in which have helped produce, in a lot of ways, the world's best medicine. So yeah, there's a deep connection. And fortunate for me, at a young age, I was able to watch it. A lot of times in order to see my dad, you go out on a ranch on a Sunday to go see him as he was getting off a tractor, at a very, very young age. So, no, there's definitely emotional attachment, not just here at this company, but throughout a lot of family businesses in ag, right? There's a lot of people that make this thing go, a lot of important people.
That's true. You talked about deep connections, right? So it's deep connections to the soil, deep connections to nature, and the people who we surround ourselves with.
Absolutely.
And people sometimes, when you talk about agriculture, when people think what ag is, people don't understand that, I feel sometimes, because like they think we abuse the land and abuse the people, whatever that concept or the perception is.
Sure.
But why would we, right? Or why would you do that? Because this is sustaining your life. And look at you, T5, and you have others coming behind you, and you are preserving this for. So I would think you're the true environmentalist in that sense, right?
Yeah, if you don't take care of your resources, and that's, you know, the people that you work with every day. Yeah. The safety of them, the not just the safety of the food that you put into the marketplace, the environment, you know, protecting the water, the land, you know, it won't be here for another generation. Right. So there's no doubt that our focus is definitely on sustainability. Right. And that runs really, really deep. This isn't, like I mentioned before, this isn't a job. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. Right. It's in a lot of ways, there's a lot of headwinds. Right. And there's probably more than this interview or this conversation can probably tackle. Right. But at the end of the day, the people that make up this industry are very, very special. Agreed. Yeah. And when you talk about the life, this is a lifestyle. So there is no morning, there's no day, because this is life. Sure. This is life, right? Sure. It's not work and there is no life. This is life. This is what we do is life. That's so true. Yeah. And I am not born into it. I did not, I came into it from outside, and every day I'm grateful that I'm part of this industry, because that's what it's taught me. It's like, you have to be, because I could have been working somewhere else, a corporate job or anything else, but it doesn't add meaning to life. Yeah. And this has been so meaningful that when people talk about, would you be retiring after a couple of years? I'm like, why would I? I would be like your grandpa, 94 and still at United Ag, because it just adds so much meaning to what we do. Yeah. And you were, today is a safety day for you, right? Is every Wednesday like a safety day or something that you mentioned? Yeah. So, well, we have a high level safety meeting on Tuesday. So what does that mean? Tuesday morning. And then this morning on Wednesday morning at 6 a.m., we probably have 40 to 50 people of all the different companies or operations that are affiliated with what we're trying to do. And we go over not just what's taking place on a food safety front, but on an industrial safety front. It may be just us, you know, driving. You know, we have a lot of people that are on the road, a lot of people traveling from one ranch to the next. Right. And so it's really, really important that we drill home the safety side of our business. It's important everybody gets home on a daily basis. Right. You know, there's nothing that could probably beat a company up more than to have a really, really bad accident to some degree. The people that you work with are their extended family. So there's a deep care for what we do, not just the products, but the people. Right. And so, we have one every Wednesday. It lasts about an hour. And it's just a really good reminder. We got people calling in from all the remote locations as well, right? Because we have operations outside of Salinas. We may be going over significant things that are going on a regulatory side that involve maybe industrial food safety. It's just making sure we continue to be on the same page as we move forward operationally. Right. Yeah. Because more than anything else, you said, I mean, everything from food, because the consumers, and from people who are working, because that's part of your family, you're taking care of them. Absolutely. Right? So earlier, Tom, you were mentioning that your two grandparents, right, came in. They were actually went to Stanford, but they decided to come into Salinas and do this. And I know a lot of people going into Stanford. They do a lot of innovative things, and it's known for innovation. Is that the mindset that you have here? Is that innovating? I know Salinas is a big part of that. So what are your thoughts on that? Yeah, you know, I mean, the industry, the world, right, our country is evolving at a very, very fast clip. Yeah, super fast pace. And so definitely being plugged into all the different things that are taking place on the innovation front, on the regulatory front, on what consumers, their demands are. we look at all those things and try to present and bring a product to market that is safe, is done the right way, and it's something in which people want. But yeah, we're definitely studying what's going on in the marketplace on a daily basis for sure. Because if you don't, right, you become a dinosaur.
That's true.
Right.
That's
and
true.
This is a very, very competitive industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most companies, that when we started, the majority of them are not around today. So like everything else, you got to get up every day and you got to go to work.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out a path to try to stay in business, to try to live up to the reputation that your company is putting in the marketplace every day. And so yeah, that's not an easy task.
That's hard.
Sure.
Yeah. I know you talked about challenges. You talked about from the personal side. Who is Tom? How would you describe yourself?
Yeah.
To put you on the spot.
kind of going back and kind of thinking through my younger years, how I ended up, sitting here today talking.
Yeah, because you went to Cornell, right? And
right.
Then decided to come back here.
Yeah. And graduating from Cornell, I had a lot of different opportunities to get in a lot of different industries.
I'm pretty sure. What was your major in?
So I was basically it was an agricultural resources and managerial economics major.
Yeah.
So it was like accounting and finance and overall business.
Right.
But what was fascinating to me was, and I played college football and played 40 games in college.
And that's your jersey out there, right?
That's my grandfather's jersey that he earned, because I think he came to, and I gave that to him.
Oh,
we're in his
I thought
office.
that was yours.
It is mine, but I gave it to him, so it's actually.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, that's true.
And he put it up in his office.
And the proud grandpa.
He probably came, he probably came to 34 games out of 40, and my folks probably came to like 36 or 37.
That is. So
and
crazy.
People from this industry, came to games. People from the buy side, growers that were involved with us.
Oh, that's
people
cool.
on the harvesting side of the business, and the support that this industry gives, not just within it, but just to the people around it.
Yeah.
That team, that's the ultimate team, right? I played a lot of team sports.
Yeah.
And the people.
Yeah.
The people is what drives this. And like I mentioned, it's a very competitive industry. It's a very difficult industry. It's a lot of long hours.
Yeah.
But there's great people in it.
Yeah.
There's good people in it that are doing the right thing day in and day out. And so, I think that's one of the biggest things that I enjoy. Like I mentioned, a lot of them helped raise me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting. So you came back for the people.
Yeah, without a doubt. I love the industry.
Yeah.
I love the business.
Yeah.
Love my family. But I loved all the people within our organization, and even outside of it that we dealt with.
Yeah.
So that was the driving factor, without a doubt. And I remember vividly, I'd graduated, so you got, an Ivy League diploma.
Yeah.
and I'm on a tractor at 2:00 in the morning, setting a sprinkler system up in Arizona, right? Like a month later, thinking to myself, what am I doing? But I was earning my way.
Yeah.
And the one blessing here at this company is, if you're going to start, you're going to start right on the bottom.
Yeah.
And you're going to move sprinkler pipe. You're going to do all the necessary things to really learn and to get an understanding of all the different things. And if you're good enough to stick that out and continue to work hard, you can progress, whether your last name is Nunes or anything else. So it's just too competitive not to, right? We got to make sure we continue to bring in the best talent and the best people to help continue to move our company forward. That's
what you just said, right? Anybody going to an Ivy League or any other schools, good schools, or even if they don't go to schools, and good skills that they bring, this is an industry that actually offers meaningful
Sure.
work. And when you think of the next generation, your son T6, and what they look for from work or career and stuff, they look at meaning, right? That we've talked about that, even our videographers here, right? So we were talking about that earlier. It is what brings meaning to work, and that's why we do work. And this is an industry that offers that. So why wouldn't you, right?
And mentorship.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're really impressionable.
Yeah.
Right? At a young age, in your early 20s. And I was blessed. I was surrounded by great male mentors.
Yeah.
You know, great fathers, great husbands, you know, great leaders, phenomenal women involved in our industry and within our family.
Yeah.
So it gives you not just from a business standpoint, but just as a growth as an individual, right?
Yes, yeah.
To be surrounded by strong people is really, really important as you take the next steps of your life, right?
Yep,
Which is
agreed.
what your career is going to look like.
Yep.
You know, getting married, having kids, right? I mean, those are big steps in life. And so, being surrounded by good people, you know, like-minded people with similar paths, is really, really important, not just from a business standpoint, but from a personal growth standpoint.
Right.
So
that's so true. The personal growth, and it's like I always say, and even in our team, I'm not the same person I am today that I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even yesterday, right? Because yesterday we met somebody else, and then you grow from it and you're a different person today because you start reflecting on things. Tomorrow I'm going to be a different person because I met you today, right? So what an awesome thing that as we are growing in our professional lives, we're growing in our personal lives. And isn't that all what's to life, right? When it's all said and done, who are we at the end of the day? We're making an impact from people standpoint, and we are ourselves growing. Mm-hmm. It's like, I actually talk about this as Unidag as a business as a spiritual growth, right? This is what it is. But any story, Tom, as you think about it, any story about your dad or your that resonates or that comes to life as you're just talking about this?
Which, you know what? Like, I don't even know where to start. You know, gosh, a specific story. There's so many.
Any memory that comes to, because it's a
you know, it's you talk about like family businesses and the success rate of them.
Yeah.
Especially as they move from generation to generation. And I talked a little bit about mentorship and leadership and whatnot, and just been really, really blessed. The cohesiveness of my father and his generation, and not just the family members, my uncle and cousin at that level, and their sisters, but the outside professionals too that have been a part of our fabric for years. You know, we're an organization that's never taken a vote. You know, we find consensus to drive our company, you know.
Interesting.
You know, I may be the president of the company, but our organization runs much, much deeper than that, you know. We don't do anything unless the families in our leadership's on board. It's really, really consensus driven. It's provided a lot of success because of that. There's no ego because of that. You know, what's the right path for our organization? What are we doing?
Right.
And then once we have it, right, then the work really, really starts, right? You gotta dig in and get moving. But you know, I think that's something that, you know, I walk away from constantly really grateful of the mentors and the leadership, not just from family, but from you know, like I like to call extended family, right? You know, the other professionals and people that have been here for years. And so having an appreciation for that, having an understanding your roots, understanding how quickly it can be taken away from you. Yeah. Because it can be, you know. Right. Reputation can be ruined overnight, and it takes generations to try to build. So just trying to make sure we maintain that path, I think is really, really important. And so, that's what we continue to do here,
Yeah,
for sure.
cool. Not driven by ego. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Because
It doesn't like there's a phrase that's out there, right? And there's two, right? The most important ingredient you can put on a crop is your shadow, right? You got to be around. And the other one is, it doesn't matter who's right, what's right.
That's awesome.
So what's right? And
it's hard to live like that, especially from
what's right? So
right.
Even if somebody in a significant position thinks he or she is right, you got to ask the question, but what is right? And so those conversations are really easy to have when you have that mindset, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah,
because it is, especially from your family history and your name, right? To have that mindset is the reason I feel you are where you are today, right? Because it's so easy to get egoistical and so to have that humble kind of, that does actually have, like you said, that's led to the growth and making the right decisions. So what do you think the future is? Do you with all this chat GPTs and AIs and stuff, where do you think ag will be a couple years?
It's funny, right? If you walk out at some of our meetings, you think the sky is falling, right? There's just so much headwind in so many different arenas and whatnot. But if you're going to be in this business, you got to be optimistic, right? You gotta have a passion and a belief for the industry. You got to love it. And I believe in the products that we put in the marketplace, fresh fruits and vegetables. I believe in the people. And so there's real joy with that, right? I enjoy challenges, right? I'm competitive in nature, right? So, I'm very, very optimistic. If I wasn't, I probably shouldn't be in this business, right? So, no, I think the future's bright. But we have a lot of work to do. A lot. So
the glass half full versus half empty, right? The concept. And that's important, because I do see a lot of, sometimes we get caught up in all the negative stories and the narratives that we have. But looking forward, and that's so true. And looking at from United Ag standpoint, what you said from the health, right? So ag and what we do, especially in California and what's happening here, today we talk about eating right. We were earlier talking about clean food, right? What that is and what that does to our internal gut and everything that we maintain. We have access to all of that here, and the best grown food ever, right? And it's like, we have to sustain that I think we owe it to us and our future generations to make sure we support and not just people who are in it, but even from outside to support this industry is extremely important.
Absolutely.
Just looking at our claims cost and what's happening and what's going on in the world out there.
Absolutely. No, like I mentioned kind of before, I believe we provide the world's best medicine, and getting that message out is very, very important. It helps with the healthcare situation, right, in this country.
Big time.
There's definitely correlations with diet and health, and not just physical health, but mental health as well. So the more people consume of fresh fruits and vegetables, probably the better. And we're just happy to be a part of that journey.
When you talk about mental health, we saw this happen during COVID time. There was a big impact, right? We didn't know if we're going to be existing or we'll be there tomorrow or not, and impacted mental health. At United Ag, actually, we decided to offer Spring Health at zero cost to our membership, because we felt the need to offer it, because there was a need. Do you see that more? Do you see that happen more right now? The impact of mental health, has it grown, you feel, or has it gotten better?
Yeah, I think just with how technology is and how social media is, I think there's probably a lot of rabbit holes people go down that probably aren't the healthiest. And I think what we try to focus on here is try to create the most positive environment. Like during COVID, in a lot of ways, we wanted to make sure what we were doing in a lot of ways was the safest place people could be. How we structured what we did from an operational standpoint, all the different procedures that were put into place, and just try to create as positive as environment as you can.
Right.
Because everybody has a different set of problems, and mine are different than yours, and yours are different than the person next to you, right? And so, being conscious of all those things, and being supportive, and trying to just create the best possible working environment is really really important. And it's a constant thing that you got to work towards. But there's a lot of challenges going on with our country, for sure. So we just try to create this place here to try to be a place in which maybe people can kind of get away from some of those things. And try to have as a positive environment as we can.
That's so true. With so many things happening in a negative way, this is safety, right? And this provides that home. That's pretty cool.
And knowledge is value in our industry. You're not going to learn. You're not going to learn the things that this industry that's needed in this industry, from school. You're going to learn great skills that are going to help you attack this industry.
Right.
Whether it's the education you get or the life experiences. But you got to go to work every day in this industry. And the leadership understands that because they did it. So you value that. And you value that quite a bit. The people that put the time in. And so consequently, there's a lot of opportunity to progress and grow.
Right.
I think you and I had a conversation a while ago, and we may see him when we go out to the field. I don't know, but Jess Gomez, he started with my grandfather when they were in their 20s, and he's 93 years old. And just the progression that he had in his overall career and the level in which he's at, unbelievable what he was able to do for his family and for his, career here at the company. He bleeds the organization, and he's one of many people we have like that. So it makes it really special. It makes it special.
That is a special place.
Makes it special.
I think people listening to this are going to get a little jealous that they don't get to have this. But that's the reason we need to
we're looking for great people. So hey,
yes,
there's always an opportunity.
Exactly. This is a very extremely, like I said. You've served on quite a few ag-related boards, right? And you are an advocate for this industry. What do you see as what are some of the learnings that you had from there?
Sure, I think some of the learnings is just because we do things a certain way here, doesn't make it right everywhere. There's a lot you can learn from other organizations. There's a lot of very very successful organizations. There's a lot that I've been able to take from how they run their business, their thought process, their success stories. The biggest thing that you get when you sit on those boards is you discuss a lot of the challenges. Whether it's water, whether it's immigration reform, whether it's the regulatory environment, and you kind of go on and on. It could be inflation. All those different things that really start to affect what goes on the farming side. The people that are successful, they get up every day and they put one foot in front of the other. And there's a lot of success with that, just in life. There's one constant in life, and it's change, right?
Yep.
And so there's always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be challenges. And how you approach those is really important, right?
Right.
Is that glass half full?
Yep.
When it's really half empty,
Right.
Yeah. And the deck is stacked pretty heavily against you. What's the path? How do you do it? How do you stay positive? And people within those groups, the leadership within them, I mean, they're very, very positive people.
Yeah.
They're mentally very, very strong. They're tough in a lot of ways, in a good way, because life's not easy. It's not easy for anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has challenges, whether it's in business, at home. Everybody's circumstances are different, but it's how we approach those.
That's true.
And then if you're in a position in which you can help, right, it's really rewarding.
Yeah.
You try to help.
Yeah.
Because, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's why we're here, right? So, so I think, meeting different people and being open to different ideas, I think it's really, really important. And sometimes making a decision is not doing anything. That's a decision sometimes.
That's a decision.
Sit and wait and watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's the hardest decision.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a busy person and you want to keep moving, right? And that's just the maturing process of life, right?
Yeah.
We're only here so long, right?
Yep. Tom, thank you for being who you are, because this is from a leadership standpoint. Find this very inspiring, because not a lot of people think this way. You talking about it, and you kind of, it's for you, it seems such a normal thing. It's a way of life, but it's a very unique thing to have. So thank you for leading, and to have leaders like you in this industry is extremely inspiring.
Yeah.
And this is what makes our life, who are part of this industry, so much more meaningful, because to have leaders like you.
Well, thank you
awesome.
for what you guys do. There's no doubt that, like I mentioned, there's great people in our industry that are doing great things.
Yeah.
And we just all have different roles, right? And getting that message out, I think, is really, really important.
So what do you think United Act can do more? Is there anything we can do from
I think telling our story is really important.
Yeah.
I don't know if we do enough of it as an industry. I don't think we I think there's a lot of misconceptions about big ag. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about, it's corporate. Sure, are there big corporate companies out there? There is, but there's a lot of family companies, like the Nunes Company.
Correct.
A lot of family farms we do business with. A lot of people that get up every day and are trying to decipher what the regulation really is. What am I supposed to do? I want to do the right thing.
Right.
What is the right thing?
Right.
And how it's written, and what the real rules are. And, this stuff's messy.
Yeah.
But I think, the people that I've been fortunate enough to be around, whether they're competitors or the people that I've worked directly with, there's a lot of good people that just want to do the right thing.
Agreed.
And do the right thing.
Right.
But I don't know if everybody that is in the regulatory side understands
what's happening,
what's really happening, and how knowledgeable we are to help move things forward. I think a lot of stuff's just done because people think it's the right thing to do without really understanding the cause and effect of it, and the detriment to it.
Right.
Because they haven't thought it all the way through, because they haven't been on the business side.
Thanks. That's so true.
Right. And being on the business side, and based on your background, you got to be able to understand the business side to make really good decisions that ultimately help all sides. Right. So that balance is really important in our message. I think is really important to get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Day in, day out. Right. I think you mentioned earlier when we were talking, to be fair, to be responsible, to everything, right? I mean, the company, the people, and the industry, and everybody out there. That's so true. I think that's
be fair, right? What's fair?
Yeah.
What's responsible?
Yeah.
And then with with studying those two questions, right? You continuously try to find what's right.
What's the right thing to do?
What's the right thing to do, and what's
Yeah.
that balance?
Right.
Because the pendulums can't swing too far because you get out of balance, and it affects everybody, right? So trying to find what's right, it's a constant analysis
That is true.
of every different situation that comes at you, right?
Yeah.
So
So true. So true. This is what an inspiring start to the day. It's a lot of food for thought as I'm reflecting on just, as you mentioned a few things, quite a lot of things are very similar to what happens at United Ag. So as I was listening to you, I was actually feeling, okay, we do this right and we do that right. And
right.
that there is the whole concept of ego too, right? Bringing, as soon as you bring ego into something, then it kills it. And so this has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.